What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and a while back I showed you guys a video in Guild Raid where Leona would absolutely help your Guild Raid team because of the increased target damage received in her core here from doing her first skill, and also getting the increased target damage received on her second skill, right? Which is pretty insane, guys. Those two stack on top of each other, which allows characters, especially characters that don't have dot explosion, to really increase their damage. Characters like Rugal, who I'm going to be using today. And I mentioned in the video that I did a while back with Leona that Baiken is actually going to be really good for this as well. And the reason being is for the same thing as Leona. Baiken also has an increased target damage received by 28% for 5 seconds upon landing an attack on a shock target. So all you gotta do is hit her second skill one time to apply the shock, and you'll get this 5 seconds of increased target damage received by 28%. And then also you get this increased target damage received by 28% whenever you do the first skill. So generally what you're trying to do is whenever you bring in Baiken, you'll use her first skill to apply this increased target damage received by 28% because it lasts for 8 seconds, right? You want to do the longer lasting increased target damage received first, and then do her second skill just one time, right? Just do it one time because that will do the shock and give you the increased target damage received from her core passive. If you do it twice, it'll apply bleed and you won't get that extra increased target damage received. So literally when you drop her in, you just want to use your first skill, then your second skill, then switch to your damage dealer and start doing some nutty damage. Now, something that's really awesome about Baiken versus Leona actually is that Baiken is going to be applying shock damage, and shock actually allows you to break the meter against Nightmare Geese really fast. As you guys will see in the run that I'm gonna do, it works out really well. Something else about Baiken, if you're using an attack type fighter on the team, is she does increase attack type fighters, all attack fighters, by 40% and critical damage by 50%. This is going to allow your damage dealer to do a lot more damage if you're not just using Baiken for the solos, right? Some people might use her for a solo. She is strong enough for that, but she has kind of fallen behind a little bit as far as damage. Still an amazing character, and that's really what I want to show today, guys. Like, even though a character might not be as relevant as what they once were, and for those of you that only have this character at level 90, you can still do it. She doesn't need to be awakened, guys. All you're going to do is drop her in, hit her first skill, then her second skill. Now, something I want to show you that really adds a little something extra is the City of Darkness set. We're kind of highlighting two different things in this video. The City of Darkness set is actually quite nice because it also 30% chance to increase the target damage received by 10% for 8 seconds, right? So we have a 30% chance of proccing this increased target damage received also by another 10%, which really gives you a lot of increased target damage received. Again, guys, this works the best with characters that don't have dot explosion. Characters that do, they can still benefit, guys. I mean, I still use Leona for my Ryu on my free-to-play account, and it does give me a little bit of extra damage because whenever you're doing your first skill and your third skill, they're not applying the dot explosion, so you're still getting that extra increased target damage received. It is applying, but every time you do the second skill with Ryu, it isn't, right? You're just not benefiting as much as say you would with characters like Zero, Rugal, Ignatz, all these other characters that don't have dot explosion. They actually benefit more from doing this method. You don't need her 3PG either for doing this, guys. Something that I would recommend though is having a super armor card. Now, when it comes to the Guilty Gear characters, this card here, this is from the Seven Knights. This is actually really good. And also, I have to go to the Codex because I don't have the card, but also the Guilty Gear option card right here. This also gives you super armor when you drop them in from tagging in. Having that super armor is nice because whenever, you know, Nightmare Geese throws out the Repuken or whatever attack, he can actually interrupt you as you're falling down, and that really screws you up. And if you have super armor, he won't interrupt you. You'll fall down, be able to go into your first skill, your second skill, and boom, shakalaka, you apply all that increased target damage received, and you're going to do amazing. Now, let me show you the team that I'm using. Now, I do realize also, guys, that this video is not going to be for everybody. Not everybody played during the Guilty Gear collaboration, but I want to highlight Baiken because she really is, guys, like for her leadership, for attack type fighters, and because of her increased target damage, she really is amazing for this. As you guys will see, she's just nuts. Like, she's so good. And as I established with Leona, guys, we saw a 39% increase to our damage with Leona. And you're going to see about the same thing with Baiken. On Inferno, guys, you need shock and chill. Well, Baiken does have that shock, right? Thank you so much for the subscription. Much appreciated. This is a team that I ran with. Okay, now I realize not everybody's got this team, but if you have Baiken, you can use her in the same way that I am using her. If you have Chun-Li, you could use Chun-Li to apply some chill right here, whether it's the EX Chun-Li version, which everybody got for free, or the Nostalgia Chun-Li, where you could use her as well, right? And then just have a chill striker, right? I'm using Mary to apply shock, and then I got a chill striker and Kula. But for Baiken here, I'm going to go ahead and remove my ugly mug. For Baiken here, I'm actually using Ryu as my chill striker. The reason that I'm using that is because whenever I bring in Baiken and apply my first skill, then my second skill, I'll apply shock from the second skill, and then Ryu will apply that chill, and Rugal here, whenever I drop him in afterwards, will easily break the meter, guys. He will easily break the meter. Now, I am going to play this a little bit different than what I did with Leona in order to really have a more optimal run, as I'll show you guys. Without Leona, I run Leona in the leadership. She gives a PG rate to Rugal. But because we're not getting PG rate, we're just getting that critical damage by 50% and that 40% increase to attack type fighters. We're not going to have that extra 20% PG rate, which does make a difference, guys. It does make a pretty big difference. So check this out, my friends. Check this out. Oh, yeah. And guys, this is really, really easy. So a big difference between the way I play is first, I'll just bring in Rugal, go through his skills, now switch to Mary, 3, 2, 1. And if you guys are wondering what I have on Mary to build up her PG so fast, I'm actually using a Serena set with another PG card, option card on her. That way she can build up her PG super fast. And then we exit out of this, then go 3, 2, 1, apply shock. Then you hit Baiken, first skill, second skill, and boom. Now, normally when I play with Leona, I'll hit the 3 PG because I can still build up my PG, but I'm not in this way. I found that I have more consistent damage and I do a lot better when I'm playing with Baiken, doing this method right here on this particular team composition, just to go ahead and not use my default so much. I just kind of, once I break the meter, I just go into my, normal active skills. And then whenever the meter gets near broken or near to the end, whenever Geese is going to come out of the stun, then I just go ahead and hit my 3 PG. But as you guys can see, look at this damage. Oh, like what? Totally insanity, guys. Because of her leadership for attack type fighters, because of the increased target damage received, and that little bit of extra increased target damage received that we're actually getting from the card sets. I honestly don't know if that really does make a difference, but I think it is. Because seriously, guys, between Leona and Baiken, I'm getting a little bit better score with Baiken, right? A little bit better score, although Leona will always be available in the game. She's always going to get reruns because she is an original KOF character versus Baiken, who's a Guilty Gear character, and she's only going to show up, she's only going to show up that one time unless we get a rerun for Guilty Gear, which I doubt we ever will, but you never know. You never know with Netmarble. Maybe in the future, maybe we'll get some reruns from some of our old collabs. But yeah, and I hope we do. The Guilty Gear collaboration was pretty freaking amazing. And it's good to see that they did something with a character like Baiken, a very beloved Guilty Gear character, that they gave her something to where she's always going to be useful. Again, guys, if you have this character at level 90, just like Leona, you can absolutely do this. You don't need her to be awakened. If you just got the character and you were playing during that collaboration, you can absolutely do this nutty crap. This is insane, guys. I almost hit 5 billion in the first half of this run. Look at that, almost 5 billion. That's pretty nuts, guys. Don't mind the bald head, guys. I know I might blind some of you out there, but she's amazing. She's amazing. It's just so awesome, And when I mentioned her in that video, whenever I was covering Leona, I was pretty sure she was going to do good, but I didn't know how good she would do. But honestly, it's either a toss-up or she's a little bit better than Leona, right? You're getting that extra critical damage by 50%. Honestly, guys, when it comes to runs, there's a lot of different variables, a lot of, the amount of critical hits that you do, the time whenever the meter gets broken, and then you run into your skills. There's a lot that comes into play in a good run versus an okay run, right? So it's really difficult for me to say which one's actually better, but man, they're both godly. But I gotta say, I feel like, with Baiken, I'm just getting more consistent, like I'm getting better damage from using her. And I really think it's mainly because of her leadership, because as far as increased target damage received, they're pretty similar. Leona is a little bit more, but it's not by much, right? And this isn't a comparison versus Baiken versus Leona. I'm just trying to give you guys some perspective on these two characters and how they're actually a bit comparable. By the way, if you have Mary, she's just nutty for this, right? Chun-Li's amazing for this as well. Either version of them. Both of them can break the meter really, really easy. And you notice, guys, I don't hit my default, right? I just kind of go through my basics. I hit my third and first skill because those give attack buffs. And then I go into the 3PG with Rugal. And again, guys, I know this isn't the kind of video that's going to help every player out there because they're not going to have Baiken, right? I understand that. But if you do have her, you could try something like that, like this with her. You could, I mean, guys, Ryu and Akuma are both attack type fighters. You could put Baiken in the leadership or use Ryu's leadership for the Street Fighter characters and just put Baiken on the team if you happen to have Baiken and you did pull for the Street Fighter characters, right? I mean, there's all kinds of combinations you can do, but look at this damage, guys. Look at that damage. We're going to hit 9.5 billion. I mean, that is nutty, guys. 9.5 billion, right? And that is just a huge, like, I'm telling you guys, if I don't use Baiken and I'm just using Rugal and I use an attack buff that's 40%, like, it's not, we're not going to do near the damage. It's a huge increase whenever you're using these characters that have that increased target damage received, especially for characters that don't have dot explosion. So I really just wanted to highlight Baiken today. I wanted to show her some love because I really do feel like she is a super underrated character and her value is still very, very high in this game. So those of you that have Baiken, give this a try, see if she can actually help your score. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT+7 time. The link is in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See everybody.